Hey, this is Jonathan with the PyCalendar team, and in this quick video, I'm going to show you how to get up and running with PyCalendar as a brand new user. So PyCalendar allows you to add any post on your site to a front-end calendar. They can be either posts, pages, custom post types you create, or even those created by other plugins entirely. So in this particular case, I have PyCalendar Pro installed, but most of what I'm going to show you will work on the free version as well, which is available in the plugin repository. And I also have the optional PyCalendar connector plugin installed as well, which brings some additional integrations like Eventbrite, ICS feeds, and more in the future. So to get started, the first thing we need is a piece of content that we want to show on the calendar. Like I mentioned, it could be posts. You could create your own events custom post type, but anything can be displayed on the calendar, posts, pages, etc. What I'm going to do is use my posts here, and we're just going to say we want to turn this Downtown Summer Street Festival into an event and show it on our calendar. I'll just simply go ahead and click this, and when PyCalendar is installed, over here on the right-hand side in the sidebar, we see this calendar toggle. We want to go ahead and enable show on calendar, and we get a couple more options right away. Of course, if this is an all-day event, this will just plot the event on the day that we choose without any times, so it will just take up the whole space. But what we want to do in this case, because this is a summer street festival and it's saying that it returns this weekend, let's go ahead and just set it for tomorrow at 8 a.m. You're not required to put an end time, but let's just suppose that this particular event is going to end at 11 a.m., let's just say. So now we have everything we need for this particular event to appear on our calendar. Let's go ahead and save this and do that for one other event. Let's go ahead and do our city council meeting posts. Again, we'll turn on show on calendar, and let's say this is going to be next Tuesday at, let's just say 6 p.m. And then the end time was also going to be on Tuesday at, let's say 9 p.m. for example. We'll save this, and I want to do one more. Let's choose this community cleanup post. So what I'll do here is make this a multi-day event. We're going to go show on calendar. The start date, let's say, is the 25th at, we'll do 3 p.m. And then the end time is going to be the 27th at, let's say, 5 p.m. So this is going to give us a multi-day event on the calendar. We'll also come back and take a look at the event recurrence controls here in just a moment, but I just want to get some events on the calendar. I'm going to go ahead and save this post. So now we have 3 events that should appear on our calendar. So let's go ahead and go to our pages because I want to add the PyCalendar to my events page, but you could put this on your home page or anywhere you want it. On the events page, we don't have anything here, so what we could do is type / on our keyboard and search for PyCalendar. We're going to drop in the main PyCalendar block, so we'll go ahead and click on this, and we can see right away here in the back end of our site, we have a visual representation of what the calendar is going to look like on the front end. Do keep in mind that there's also a PyCalendar shortcode that has all of the options I'm going to show you in this video available that do not require use of the block. So here's the events that we plotted. Let's go ahead and save this and take a look on the front end, and it gives you a perfectly representative look of exactly what we just did. So we have our event time, and if we click on it, we get more information. The post title, the start and end times, the event description, which is just placeholder text in this particular case. And then if we click on view post, that will actually take us to that specific event page. I can either click out of the window, click the X, or press escape on my keyboard to close this popover. Now there's a ton more configuration we can look at for the block itself in just a moment, but one thing I also wanted to show you is that we have a ton of views available to you. So depending on what type of site you're running or what sort of events you want to display, you might want to use a week grid, a day view, a regular old list, or one of our most popular views is the month list with image option, as you can see here. So what this is going to do is organize your events in a really nice list image view, data on the left with the post featured image on the right. Of course, in this particular case, this is just a sample image, so it doesn't quite make sense for the Downtown Street Festival, but if it's happening here, I definitely want to go there. Again, same thing, if I click on this, the popover appears. So let's go back to the block and take a look at some of the other options. With it selected on the right-hand side, we can actually filter what kind of post types we want to appear on the calendar. In our case, we're only bringing in the default WordPress posts, but let's say you had posts and pages, you wanted to display those. Perhaps you have a third post type that you want to be excluded from this particular calendar. You have that flexibility here. I'm going to go ahead and just clear these out because, of course, in our case, we're only displaying our regular old posts. With the view option, we can go ahead and set the default view. So instead of the calendar loading with this view that we're looking at here, we could change it to the month list image. So as soon as the page loads, your visitors are automatically seeing this view here. The next control that appears is the duration option, and this is available for the list upcoming as well as the month list with image view. What this enables you to do is just enter a number between 1 and 24, which represents the number of months you want to display from this particular calendar. This was highly requested from some of our users who only had a couple of events a year. They didn't want to have empty calendar pages. December might be empty because there's no events, but there's something in January. So what they want to do is just simply enter the number 3 for 3 months, and the calendar will display 3 months worth of events in these particular list views. Like I mentioned, this is super handy if you're just working with a couple of events a year. Really nice control to have here. There's a bunch more options here, but a couple of the other ones that I wanted to show you are the pro settings for show featured image. This will actually add the featured image into the popover, so that looks nice as well. And we can also do hide past events. I also want to go ahead and temporarily switch the view back to the default, the month classic, because we can already see what this option has done here. This hide past events makes it so the calendar cannot be scrolled backward into previous months, and events prior to today that show up on this view are just basically grayed out and not accessible. Another option we have in this particular view is the wrap titles function. So as you can see, this is going to force all of the event data to appear in the cell rather than overflowing. So depending on your setup, if you have a bunch of events in one day, it might make sense to leave wrap titles disabled. But if you only have one and you want your visitors to see the whole event text, you can just click this and it wraps the titles nicely. Let's go ahead and save and take a look at this on the front end. I'll just simply refresh this page, and there are all of our changes, as you can see. If I click into this event, we get the nice featured image at the top, as well as all the details we saw before. One other thing I wanted to point out is that the Pro version of PyCalendar automatically converts the event's time into your viewer's local time zone. So in this particular case, I am in America, Chicago, which is just Central Standard Time in the US. And so this isn't converting because, of course, these events are set via my local time. However, if you came to the site and you're in London or California or somewhere like that, you're going to see these event times automatically converted into your local time zone, which is really great. However, there are some cases where you don't want that conversion to happen, and that is possible to disable. What we can do is just down here in the Pro settings, you can turn on disable adaptive time zones, and then whatever time you set on the event is exactly what the viewer is going to see regardless of time zone. That said though, adaptive time zone is a great feature because it allows you to automatically convert those event times into your viewer's time zone, accounting for daylight savings and all the little quirks that come with time zones around the world. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I want to show you one other option that exists in PyCalendar Pro that we need to turn on. So let's return to the WordPress admin panel, come down to Settings and PyCalendar, and in here we can do a couple of things. We have the option to only show those PyCalendar controls on specific post types. So as you have more plugins and more post types added to your site, they will automatically appear in here. But let's say we only want the controls to appear on the posts and not our pages. We can go ahead and enable this. And then those PyCalendar controls we added to the events, the start time, end time, and so on will not appear at all, except on our default WordPress posts, not on pages or the attachments. The other thing is we also have add to calendar links that you can turn on. So if you want to allow your visitors to add your events to their own calendar in Google, Outlook, Apple, and so on, just turn those on, click save, and now all we need to do is refresh here on the front end. Let's click one of our events like the Community Cleanup Day, and down here towards the bottom you can see we now have add to calendar links, which I can click and it will open in Google Calendar, download the ICS file for Apple and Outlook, and so on. Now I want to give you a quick glimpse at the powerful recurring event controls that exist in PyCalendar Pro as well. So for this event, what I'm going to do is choose the free outdoor movie night. And let's suppose that this event repeats once a month, but we always want it to be on the first Friday. Well, we can do that easily and even more that I'll show you in just a second. So let's suppose that we want our event to start on Friday, November 7th. We'll go ahead and click that. And let's just say that it's going to be at 6 p.m. And then the end time is going to be Friday the 7th at 9 p.m. Nice and easy. Well, like I said, we want this to repeat on the first Friday of every month. So what we need to do now is add a recurrence rule, and we can add as many of these as we want. They're very powerful, so let me walk you through them. When I expand this particular recurring rule, by default, the first option is recurrence rule. We can also set it to plot on single days as well, so we can just pick another day for this event to appear that doesn't really follow any kind of pattern. Or we can also choose blackout dates and ranges. Let's get started by adding a recurrence rule with an interval of 1 month. So this is going to repeat once a month. And in our case, like I mentioned, we want this to appear on the first Friday of every month. So we want to turn on same weekday and position. Then from here, let's say we want this to repeat out for a couple of months. So we want it to stop in, so let's say sometime like March. So we can just come out until March the 6th. Now, if we click March 6th, which is the first Friday, this event is not going to appear. So if you wanted March 6th to be the last date of the event, just simply choose March 7th. Then from here, let's just say because of the holidays, we want a blackout rule that prevents the event from appearing at all in December. So what we could do is go to blackout date. We'll come over to December, and then we're going to say Friday the 5th is a blackout date, so the event should not appear. You also have the option with the blackout dates to make them a range, so you could make it the entire month of December. So if this event, let's say, recurred once every week, all 4 instances or 5, depending on how many of that particular day are in a given month, will be blocked out entirely. So I could choose all the way to December the 31st if I wanted, and then nothing from this particular event will appear between those 2 dates. So really handy. In our case, we only need that one single blackout date. So let's go ahead and save this, and we're going to take a look on the front end to make sure everything is working as expected. So when we refresh, here is our movie on Friday the 7th. We can go to December, and we're not going to see an event plotted there on the first Friday exactly as we expected because of the blackout rule. Then from here, we can move into January. There it is on January the 2nd, that first Friday. Into February, the first Friday happens to be the 6th. And then the last time we're going to see this event appear is Friday, March 6th. And then beyond that, it's not going to appear because we set that stops on rule. So you can see we're combining a couple of different things, a recurrence pattern of once a month and setting the weekday in position, as well as this blackout rule and the stops on to give us tons of flexibility for every single event on our site. The recurrence rules are really powerful and you can do a lot with them, so we hope you enjoy that. So with that, I hope this is a helpful first look at PyCalendar. In just a matter of minutes, you can get events running on your calendar. In just a matter of a few minutes, you can get up and running, adding events to your calendar with a ton of beautiful configuration options. And if you want to extend PyCalendar even further, you can add in the connector option for Eventbrite integrations, ICS feeds, and more coming in the future. If you have questions or want to learn more, please visit our website at pycalendar.com.